The office always felt different after 6 p.m. The hum of computers softened, the tapping keyboards faded out one by one, and the building took on this quiet, reflective mood that almost felt like the world was pausing for a breath. Ethan lived for that silence. It was the only time of day when he didn't feel pulled in 3 different directions: single father, dependable friend, and the guy who never said no when someone needed help. He stayed late at the marketing firm, not because he wanted to impress anyone, but because the overtime helped pay for school shoes, field trips, and the unexpected realities of raising a 9-year-old daughter alone. He closed his laptop and rubbed his eyes. He should have gone home an hour ago, but then his boss, Claire, had stopped by his desk looking unlike herself. Not the polished, confident CEO in the sharp pencil skirt and heels. Not the woman who walked into meetings like she'd already solved every problem in the room. Tonight, she'd looked human and tired. "Ethan," she'd said quietly, fingers wrapped around a coffee mug she clearly didn't need. "Do you have a minute?" He always had a minute. They ended up in her office. She hesitated, then laughed awkwardly. "You're a single dad, which means you've probably dated more recently than I have." He'd raised a brow. "I don't know if that's a compliment." She smiled, but it faded quickly. "I signed up for a dating app, and it's a disaster." He waited. She stared down at her phone like it contained national secrets. "I don't know what I'm doing," she admitted finally. "Would you look at it?" It was such an ordinary request, and yet coming from Claire, the woman, who never needed anything from anyone, it felt extraordinary. So he'd pulled up a chair beside her desk and tried very hard not to notice that they were suddenly closer than they'd ever been. Her profile popped up, and it was terrible. A formal headshot, a bio that sounded like a press release. 0 warmth, 0 Claire. He couldn't help it. He laughed. She gasped. "It's that bad?" He softened immediately. "I'm sorry. It's just, this doesn't sound like you." She frowned, leaning in to read it again. "What's wrong with driven professional who values ambition and results?" "It sounds like you're hiring an assistant," he said gently. Her shoulders dropped. "See, hopeless." But she wasn't hopeless. She was someone who brought hot chocolate mix into the office kitchen during winter. Because people need small comforts. She remembered birthdays. She stood up for her team in meetings. She asked about his daughter Lily and actually listened to the answer. No app profile could capture that. So they worked on it together. He helped her choose photos where she was smiling, not posing. He asked questions: what she loved, what she hated, what she'd do with one free Saturday. Slowly, the real Claire appeared on screen. Warm, curious, funny. He didn't realize how much he admired her until he saw it written out in front of him. When they finished, she stared at the profile like it belonged to someone else. "Wow," she whispered. "I'd actually go out with me." "Good," he said, meaning more than he should. "Other people will too." There was a pause, a long one. She didn't look away. "Thank you. Anytime." But she didn't dismiss him, didn't return to work mode. Instead, she rested her chin on her hand and studied him. "What about you?" she asked softly. "Are you on any apps?" He chuckled. "I was, briefly. Turns out single dad who falls asleep at 9:30 isn't a hot commodity." Her laugh filled the room. A real one. The kind that made the tension fall away. "Women like kind," she said. "Even if kind sleeps early." He shrugged. "Maybe the right woman, sure." There was another silence. Then she said something that changed everything. "Well," she murmured, that playful spark returning to her eyes. "Why not take me out?" At first, he thought she was joking. He waited for the smile that said she'd gone too far. But she wasn't joking. She was waiting. His brain started sorting through reasons to refuse. Office policy, power imbalance, gossip, risk. And yet, his heart remembered the woman who sat next to him in vulnerability and trusted him with hers. He swallowed. "Claire, are you sure?" She nodded. "I'm tired of pretending my life is perfect. I'm tired of only being the boss. Tonight, sitting here, I remembered what it feels like to be seen." Her voice softened. "And you see people, Ethan, you always have." Something inside him cracked. He wasn't used to being chosen. Not like that. Okay, he whispered. One date. Her smile, worth every risk. Their first date didn't happen in a fancy restaurant or rooftop bar. It happened at a little Italian place with mismatched chairs and candles stuck in old wine bottles. Because she'd asked him what he liked, not what looked impressive. He arrived early because single dads live by routines and time management. He almost panicked his way right back to the car. What was he doing? Dating his boss? What if everyone found out? What if she woke up tomorrow and regretted it? Then she walked in. Not CEO Claire, just Claire. Hair down, soft sweater, nervous smile. He stood up, unable to help himself. You look... She laughed. Different. Happy, he said. Her eyes glowed. They talked for hours. About real things, grief, responsibility, dreams shoved to the back of the shelf. She listened when he spoke about Lily, not politely, intently. When he described bedtime stories and science projects and missing his wife, who had died when Lily was just 4. She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. I'm sorry, she whispered. Not pity, understanding. It had been a long time since someone reached for him like that. The waiter had to ask twice if they wanted dessert. They did. They shared tiramisu and somehow ended up laughing so hard people stared. And nay?